Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Minish and welcome to another episode of Into Indie. In this episode we're taking a look at a tower defense game called Prime World Defenders. I do like playing tower defense games, but there's a lot of them that feel like the same game. Exceptions of course are games like Sanctum 2 and Anomaly 2. So what makes Prime World Defenders different from other tower defense games? Let's find out. Prime World Defenders advertises itself as being a story-driven game, which is actually not that common in this genre. That being said, the story part of the game is pretty underwhelming. The story pretty much goes as followed. You are part of a group of exiled treasure hunters. Some kind of cataclysmic event happened and there's a new resource available called Prime. You and your team set out to collect as much of this resource as possible, but along the way you encounter tons of enemies called the Touched that are trying to prevent you from getting more Prime. After a few missions you'll encounter a very powerful artifact, but what happens after that I'll not reveal in this video. I really try to avoid giving people spoilers, especially when it comes to the storyline. However, don't expect too much out of it, because the moment you find that certain artifact, you already know who of your band of friends is going to eventually turn on you. The storyline is flat out predictable and kinda generic as well. The same goes for the characters that assist you as well as your own character. They don't have any personality, they're just blank slates. So all in all, I really didn't enjoy the story part and I wouldn't advise you getting this game just for the sake of it. However, maybe the gameplay can save this game. Let's check it out. Anyone who's ever played a tower defense game will probably understand the basics of this game straight away. You've got a playing field that you can build towers on, and those towers are supposed to kill the enemies that walk in before they reach the exit. Do they reach the exit, then you lose life. And of course, when your life hits 0, it's game over. So this is the basic of every tower defense game, but let's focus on what makes Prime World Defenders stand out. Really, the biggest feature here is the card system. You're supposed to collect cards, and these cards can have all kinds of different functions. They can be magic spells, they can be towers, they can be certain crafting items. Now, a big part of any tower defense game is not just building those towers, you also need to upgrade them. And at the start of the game, you can't really do that. And this is simply because you're restricted by the level of the cards you've got. To make your tower stronger, you need to fuse those tower cards with other cards you find. The card collecting thing is not for everyone, but I enjoy it and it really adds something to the game for me. That being said, there is a darker side to this system. Everything you get is randomized, so if you need a certain card, you'd better prepare to do some grinding. Not only that, but fusing cards or evolving cards costs silver, and quite a bit of it, so you end up having to replay certain missions over and over and over again just to get that bit of silver you need. So again, grinding. There's actually separate randomly generated missions that are specifically made to grind. And even though it's supposedly randomly generated, there's not a lot of variation in the levels, so you end up playing the same thing over and over again, only with certain bonuses or certain level layouts slightly changed, but not a whole lot. Now, I was talking about the towers before, and in this game there are about 20 towers in total, which is quite a bit. But a lot of them are kind of the same tower, only with a specific specialization in mind. It's like you have two different towers that, for example, slow enemies. One tower can only slow one enemy at a time but has a longer range. The other tower can slow multiple enemies but has a really short range. It's kind of a trade-off, but they basically do the same thing. However, this is kind of positive since you can choose your own style of play. Do you prefer long ranged or do you prefer short ranged AoE? It's up to you. Supposedly there are also about 36 different kinds of enemies in this game. However, most of them are the same type of enemy, just recolored with a bit of a higher HP. Now, every time you manage to finish a mission, you get rewards, of course. You get silver, cards, and you also get experience. Now, logically, if you hear experience, you think of leveling, and you can actually level in this game. However, it's not really all that important, because all you do when you level is unlock certain talents. For example, those talents could let you bring an extra tower to the fight, but at the same time, guess what? Those talents cost silver, and loads of it, buckets full of it. So again, grindy, grindy, grind. So I guess by now you've discovered what my main issue is with this game, the grindiness of it all. I played World of Warcraft for 6 or 7 years, and during that time I grinded like crazy, all the time, every time, and from that moment on I swore I would never play another grindy game. But yeah, here we are. Looking at the game, you really can't deny that it looks pretty damn good. It's of course no Metro Last Light, but hey, it's an indie title, what do you expect? Another thing that's really nicely done is the way the story is presented. It's actually presented in cartoon form and comics. The artwork is high quality, however the voice acting is a bit of a letdown. Besides that, I really don't have any opinion about the sound in this game. The music isn't amazing, but it's not bad either, it's just there. By the way, Prime World Defenders is a completely single player experience, so no multiplayer in there. However, there are leaderboards, so if you want to compete with your friends, you can do it that way. And just to be clear here, this is not a free-to-play game and there are no microtransactions. There's even an in-game store, but it's all in-game currency that's being used. However, the whole game looks and feels a bit like it was going to be a free-to-play title or some kind of social game with microtransactions, and they kind of threw it all overboard and thought, hey, let's just do it this way. Very strange indeed. Overall, I give this game a 3 out of 5. Prime World Defenders has some serious flaws, however it's still a fun game to play. I feel the additions they made to the genre are worthwhile but not properly executed. Personally, I really enjoyed collecting the different cards, and it's also fun to have loads of towers at your disposal. The fact that some of them are kinda the same doesn't really matter because they have different specializations. You can choose your own style of playing. And for an indie game, Prime World Defenders also looks pretty damn good, both the in-game graphics and the hand-drawn comics. On the other hand, it's a pretty uninteresting story and the characters have no personality at all. There's tons of grinding and the randomly generated levels don't feel random enough. And of course my pet peeve returns, another lackluster RPG element that's been implemented into this game. Please stop doing this, it only slows the game down and kinda ruins the whole experience. Prime World Defenders will release on the 5th of June, and if you want to learn more you can always visit their Steam page. I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video don't forget to check out my channel for more.